Okay, so we've been working with the yoga ball when it comes to the ground, right? And some exercises, and we're going to continue to work on solo drills. I know these are important to a lot of you, and they're also important to me when I don't have a partner, and I just want to practice a drill, right? So now some of you guys are asking about, well, what about standing up? Well, my method doesn't change. Whether you're on the ground or standing up, it's all based on four things. And that's connection is the first one, all right? Now, connection falls into three parts, okay? Connection inside your skeleton, so skeletal alignment inside your body. That is the first and foremost important connection to have. You have to start there, right? Once you have that, then it's connection to the ground with that skeletal connection, right? Then the third one is a connection to the partner or to a yoga ball, right? And that is the least important out of the three as far as connections go, okay? But of course, you still need to train, right? With partners, right? Now, so let's first investigate like some skeletal alignment, right? So this is something that you should practice on your own, okay? And I'll give you some tips to constantly lead you in the right direction, okay? So the first one is, if I turn to the side, you see my lower back is curved right here, okay? And this curve is no good, okay, when it comes to dealing with force through your skeleton, right? Because force is always going to attack the weakest point, and the weakest point right now is my lower back, right? So if there's any force coming into me, it's all going to go towards it's going to all come invade my body, and then it's going to find the weakest points or the weakest links, and it's going to attack that link, right? Sometimes it can be your shoulders, sometimes it can be your head, sometimes it can be your lower back and your hips, right? Okay, the two biggest gaps when it comes to martial arts that I found people have the biggest problems with is their shoulders, big gaps in the shoulders, and the hips, big gaps in the hips, right? So and so force, when it enters your body, has a hard time reaching the ground, okay? Because it has to stop, it gets stuck in these weak spots, and it can't keep traveling down to the ground where it can go out, right? And leave your body, right? So how do we align this properly? So what we're gonna do is you're going to do what's called a pelvic tilt, okay? And what I'm doing is I'm rotating my pelvis, okay, this way, okay? So I'm rotating them this way, right? And I'm sitting my tailbone down. So when I do this, you see, look, my tailbone is now straight, okay? Do not, whenever you're doing skeletal alignment and adjustments to your skeleton, okay, it should not cause tension in other places, okay? It should not cause muscular tension. You're trying to get rid of the muscle tension, right? So a lot of times what I see is people do the pelvic tilt, and they do too much. And when they do too much, now I feel my quad muscles really starting to tense up, okay? And this is not the direction that we want to head. So stand upright. If you look, I'm only like shoulder width apart, so it's not very far, right? Okay, so now when I turn sideways, okay, all I do is rotate my pelvis and sit down, right? And when I do that action, do not start getting low, okay? Do not make yourself shorter. So when you do the pelvic tip, don't bend your knees and start getting low, okay? Keep your posture straight, your feet not pointed out, point them straight, your knees pointing straight, and there might even feel a little bit of induction with your knees. So your knees are a little bit wanting to like go towards each other, but it's not, again, it's not force where it's causing all this tension, okay? So you have this. So if you see me do a pelvic tilt, I just did it, but you see nothing really changed, okay? So now I'm sideways, you can see it, it's curved, and now I'm just gonna pelvic tilt, and there it is, okay? Straight back. Okay, right? So now I have a straight spine. Now, how do you test whether or not this is correct? Okay, so one easy way is to let go of the straight spine, relax, okay, and just do a spinal stretch. This, of course, when you do this, right, this twists your spine, okay? When your back is curved like this, and you start doing this action like this, okay, your shoulders can rotate way more than your hips. And that causes, of course, a twist, okay, right? My shoulders can almost reach behind me, but my hips cannot, right? And this is what causes massive, massive pain, okay? And this is why in submission grappling, if you can get somebody's knees one way and their shoulders another way, you're twisting the spine. This is one of the best positions you can put somebody in, okay? And that's why, because you're forcing their spine to twist. When their spine twists, they cannot unify the upper and lower body, right? So they can't get power, right? Or they can't, it's hard for them to generate full body power, right? Is a better way of saying it, okay? So, so you don't want to do this when you're striking, okay? So if I'm striking, okay, and I have a curved back, and I strike, and it can be any striking art, then as soon as I impact something and force returns into my body, okay, it's going to be searching for the weakest spots, okay? Sometimes it can be my shoulder, sometimes it'll be, oftentimes it'll be the spine, right? Okay, so it has a hard time reaching getting past this point to get to the ground. So you're going to pelvic tilt. Now, when you do this and you hold the pelvic tilt, right? Now, when you do this twist with the pelvic tilt, right? You're gonna see, look, my hips and my shoulders, they're in the same direction now, okay? The hips and the spine have connected in such a way that now it's hard for my shoulders, okay, to rotate past my hip line. Right? So now I'm like this. See? So now you see always my knees, my hips, my shoulders always facing the same direction. I can try to turn more. I can't. That's as much as I can do. Right? Okay? So now when you have this position, and now you enter force from here, now it can get past this weak point because it's connected now, okay, through the skeleton. Now it can get past that weak point and continue to the ground. And if you see I'm pushing here, I can actually feel it go into my foot now from me pushing against the wall, right? It's getting past this point. It's getting past my shoulders and past my hips, okay? All right? So now I know that's a long explanation, but it's super, super important, right? Okay? So now from here, you have the yoga ball. Put it against your hips, okay? And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna do exactly what I did on the ball, okay? You're gonna, from here, straighten your spine, okay? And now you're gonna go over to one side, see? I'm gonna shift my weight, okay? Now from here, while I'm maintaining the straight spine, I'm gonna rotate, 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 okay? And I'm gonna go underneath, I'm gonna rotate, 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 okay? And then I'm going to lever underneath the ball. So now you can see like I'm a shovel, like I'm shoveling under the ball with my hips, okay? And then back, and then I'm gonna go weight distribution on this side. I'm gonna angle change, and then I'm going to lever under the ball, okay? And again, when I do this, you see my knees, when I lever, I'm not bending my knees, okay? I'm keeping everything shoulder width, right? Okay, and I just lever, so nothing's changed, okay? All right, so just go from side to side. I'll do a couple so you can see, all right? And when you do this, I'm constantly, again, attacking the center of the ball, okay? I'm trying to create that pressure here so that it hits the wall, and then my own pressure will bounce off the wall. It'll return to me, right? Now, I need that feedback, okay? The feedback is going to tell me whether or not my skeleton is right. If I feel the return of my own pressure in my rear foot, then I've done a good job. If I feel it inside my hips or my shoulder, then I know that this is not, I don't have leverage, right? Okay, so here, just like this, all right? So this is again, a simple ball drill that you can practice. But again, the most important keys is understanding how to connect the upper and lower body through skeletal connection. That skeletal connection is created by a straight spine, and you create the straight spine by rotating your hips, right? Okay. And then that way you have a frame, a skeletal frame, right? That when force enters your body, it will enter the skeleton, right? And then shoot down to the floor. You're telling it where to go, which is the ground. You're telling force to leave your body, okay? If you have gaps anywhere in your skeleton, then when force invades you, it's going to find those gaps, okay? You're going to start to feel like you're losing position. So what are you going to do? You're going to try to, you have to correct that error somehow, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to push back and you're going to tense to make up the error. But it's going to make it worse now because force cannot leave that spot anymore. It cannot keep traveling to the ground. Okay, so if you want to be highly efficient and be able to, do martial arts for long periods of time, especially grappling arts or arts where there's a lot of pressure on each other at all times, right? It can be a lot of wear and tear on your body if you are constantly using your physicalness or your physicality or your athleticism or your speed, right? When you get older, all that stuff goes downhill, okay? And then you have a choice. You either change how you're getting force and how you're handling force to a different method, right? That's more efficient, or you quit, right? Because you're just getting injured too much, right? And you can't keep up with the young guys, the strong guys, the fast guys, the flexible guys, and girls, right? Okay, so this is, I compare it always to like a gasoline engine to an electric engine, okay? Combustion engine, can it generate power? Yes, of course it can, right? Absolutely, right? It can generate lots of horsepower, right? But there's a lot of components and a lot of it requires extremely good fuel, right? You can't put cheap fuel in there, right? It requires constantly like retorquing things, right? Okay, it requires a lot of maintenance, right? But when you're talking about something like an electric car, okay, the maintenance, there's hardly any maintenance, right? Hardly any moving parts, right? So it's way more efficient. The transfer of energy, of power is instant, all right? You turn on the lights come on. It's instant, right? Right, so that way it's more efficient, right? It's not better, it's not worse, okay? One is not better than the other, okay? Athleticism is still awesome, especially when you're young, and I encourage people who are young and aggressive and talented and athletic to use it, right? But we all know that as you get older, that goes away, right? And if you keep trying to rely on that engine, you are going to require a lot of maintenance, right? And sometimes you're going to get to a point where you're just breaking the car down, right? And eventually that car won't even run anymore, right? So we don't want to get to that place. So by switching engines, by switching how you're looking at how to handle force and how to redirect force and how to produce force, right? Okay, in a more efficient way, right? You're going to be able to grapple and to do pressure fighting, whether it's stand-up or wrestling or submission grappling. You're going to be able to do it for a long time, right? Because it's very little maintenance. Okay, you do a little, but gain a lot, and that's the sign of efficiency, right? Okay, and there's only one way to do that. Okay, and that's the L word, right? Okay, not not loser. Okay, means leverage. Okay, right? Leverage. Okay, leverage is the key. Okay, when you can out lever um, somebody else. Okay, in any any moment in time while you're training, where there's constant pressure. Okay, they're going to work 2, 3, 4 times harder than you. Okay, you're doing a little, but they have to do a lot, right? They're doing the opposite. They have no leverage, right? So you're doing a little to get a lot. They're doing a lot to get a little, and this is how you keep up with the young guys and girls. All right, so keep practicing. All right, we're gonna keep going in deep into this subject of connection, weight distribution, angle changes to create leverage, right? So again, this is a conceptual method. This is not styles. I don't like to think of what I'm teaching as styles or a particular method or a particular way. I don't say, oh, I teach Wing Chun and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and freestyle wrestling, things like this. I don't like that. It's one train of thought in many different ranges. Okay, and if you do that, then I think you're gonna have it'll have some real value for you guys. Okay, so keep practicing, and I'll see you guys soon.